Human warship detected. The enemy fleet fell into instant panic. The dark space around the Carthos expanse was quiet, almost too quiet. The Vorlathi patrol fleet moved slowly, their black ships lined up like soldiers waiting for orders. The stars reflected off their polished hulls, making the fleet look like a line of dark diamonds in the endless void. Commander Reichel sat in the main control room of the Vorlathi flagship. His glowing eyes scanned the display panels, which showed the positions of every ship in the patrol. The fleet was supposed to be safe. Humanity, their longtime rival, had stayed away from this sector for decades. Everyone thought that humans would not come back. Reichel tilted his head, watching the sensors carefully. Nothing seemed unusual. The mining world at the center of the patrol zone was quiet, just as it had always been. Mining drones floated around, picking up the rich minerals from the asteroids. The Vorlathi had built their patrols here to protect these resources. They believed no human ship would dare enter this part of space again. Then, without warning, the sensors flickered. A small red dot appeared on the screen. Commander Reichel leaned forward. He frowned. "That's not one of ours," he said. His voice was calm but low, a sound that carried authority. The red dot grew bigger, moving fast. It didn't match any known signature in their database. It was different, unpredictable. Their sensors could not identify it. The dot was moving directly toward the Vorlathi fleet, and it was coming fast. "Commander, it's coming closer. No identification code," a junior officer said, his voice trembling slightly. Reichel did not answer at once. He stared at the screen. His mind raced. "Bring up the long-range sensors," he said. The officers worked quickly. More readings came in, but nothing made sense. The mass of the approaching ship fluctuated, changing with every scan. Its energy output was higher than a cruiser, but its shape was smaller, more compact. "How can one ship have this much power?" one officer whispered. Reichel pressed his clawed fingers against the edge of the console. "Keep scanning. I want every detail. Now." Meanwhile, across the sector, the human warship Horizon Spear cut through the empty darkness. Its sleek gray hull reflected the light from distant stars. Inside the bridge, Captain Daniel Brooks stood tall, looking at the navigation display. His eyes were calm and sharp, focused on every detail. He was not worried. Humans had faced impossible situations before, and this one was just another challenge. Lieutenant Ava Morgan, sitting at the tactical console, checked the long-range scanners. "Commander, enemy fleet detected. 27 ships. Formation is defensive." "They are waiting," she reported. Her voice was steady, but her fingers moved quickly across the controls. Commander Ethan Cole at the navigation panel adjusted their course slightly. "They haven't seen us yet. We are still outside their detection range." Engineer Ryan Clark monitored the core output from the ship's reactor. "Warp drive is stable. Reactor at 80%, shields fully operational. We're ready if they detect us." Daniel nodded. "Good, keep it that way. No weapons lock yet." "We don't want to give them a reason to panic." Ava looked at the readings again. "Captain, their formation is tight. If we are detected, they might respond with all their weapons at once. It could be dangerous." Daniel smiled slightly. "That is why we remain calm. Humans survive because we do not panic. We think before we act." Outside the Horizon Spear, the stars moved slowly past the viewport. The ship's hull shimmered as the quantum drives warmed up. There was a quiet hum of energy through the ship, a sound that was almost soothing. Every crew member knew their role. Every action was precise, planned, and rehearsed. They had trained for moments like this for years. Back on the Vorlathi flagship, the red dot on the screen continued to grow. The officers exchanged nervous glances. Commander Reichel finally spoke. "This is impossible. It is only one ship against 27 of our capital vessels, yet it moves like it owns the sector." The junior officer swallowed hard. "Commander, it is not signaling. It is not stopping. It is coming straight toward us." Reichel's voice became cold. "Raise the alert. Put all ships on defensive mode. Weapons ready. Shields full. Any breach, destroy immediately." The Vorlathi ships hummed to life, their engines flaring as they adjusted their positions. Missiles armed, energy cannons powered up, fighter drones prepared to launch. The entire fleet was ready for battle, yet Reichel could not shake the feeling of unease. This ship was not ordinary. It was something else, something they had never faced before. On Horizon Spear, Daniel checked the sensor feed one last time. "Keep our vector steady, let them see us, but do not make sudden moves. We are not attacking, not yet." Ava raised an eyebrow. We could disable them before they react. Our weapons are ready. Daniel shook his head. No, the point is not to destroy. The point is to show them what they face. Fear before battle is the strongest weapon. Ethan adjusted the course slightly, bringing the ship closer to the center of the enemy formation. We will be in visual range soon. They will know we are here. Ryan glanced up from engineering. Shields at full strength, reactor stable. We can handle any counterattack. The Horizon spear moved calmly, deliberately cutting through the void like a blade. Its presence was not aggressive, but it was impossible to ignore. The Vorlathi sensors could barely keep up. Every reading conflicted with the last. It was as if the human ship was changing shape, its mass fluctuating in ways no one understood. Reichel's claws tapped rapidly on his console. "What kind of ship is this?" he demanded. "It should not exist. Its energy output is beyond known technology. Its movement too precise, too confident." His officers tried to answer. "Commander, it is a human vessel, but it exceeds all classifications. We cannot calculate its capabilities accurately." Reichel's eyes narrowed. "Humans have always been underestimated, always thought of as weak, emotional, unpredictable. Yet here is one ship alone, and it makes us feel afraid." The Vorlathi had studied humans for decades. They knew about human history, human wars, human weaknesses. They thought they understood humanity. They were wrong. The Horizon spear was almost in visual range. From the bridge, the crew could see the dark, angular shapes of the enemy ships through the viewport. They were enormous compared to their own vessel. Each Vorlathi cruiser was armed with devastating weapons, yet the human crew did not flinch. Daniel gave the order. "Open a communication channel." Ava tapped the controls. "Channel open, they are receiving automatically." The Vorlathi expected negotiation. They expected an aggressive threat. They expected human fear. Instead, they heard a calm, measured voice. "This is Captain Daniel Brooks of the United Earth Navy. You have violated protected territory. Withdraw immediately." The Vorlathi officers froze. The voice was not angry. It was not pleading. It was calm, confident, absolute. Reichel's claws tightened around the console. What is he saying? Why does he sound so certain?" The human ship continued to move forward. Not aggressively, not evasively, just forward. Each crew member on Horizon's spear knew their role. They were not acting recklessly. They were acting with control, absolute control. The Vorlathi fleet shifted nervously. Their formation began to wobble slightly. Missiles were ready, but no one wanted to fire first. The calmness of the humans made them uncertain. Fear grew where it had never been. Daniel spoke again. "We do not want to fight. But we are prepared. Do not test us. Step aside. Avoid conflict. This is your only warning." Reichel's voice shook slightly. "This cannot be. How can one ship make us feel helpless?" The Horizon spear continued to approach. Its power signature radiated through space. The Vorlathi sensors could barely keep up. Every system on the human ship worked in perfect harmony, every action calculated. There was no waste, no mistake, no hesitation. Reichel's officers were quiet, too stunned to speak. The Vorlathi had faced humans before. They had won easily. They had never feared them. Yet now one human ship with one small crew made them question everything they knew. Daniel watched the enemy fleet carefully. He did not panic. He did not hesitate. His crew was ready. The human ship represented more than firepower. It represented focus, intelligence, strategy, and control. The Vorlathi did not know how to respond. Their weapons systems were armed, their ships ready to fight, yet no one dared make the first move. Daniel glanced at Ava. "Keep scanning, track every ship, prepare defensive protocols, but do not engage unless necessary." Ava nodded. "Understood, Captain." Ethan adjusted the course slightly again, moving them closer to the fleet. "We are almost within range. They will see us clearly now." Ryan checked the reactor. "Energy stable, shields at maximum, all systems green." The Horizon spear moved silently, steadily. Its calm confidence radiated outward. The Vorlathi fleet began to shake, their formations faltering as fear spread through their ranks. Commander Reichel realized the truth. This was not just one ship. This was humanity showing them what it meant to be in control. And control, when wielded with certainty, was more terrifying than any weapon. He looked at the screen. The small gray vessel, calm and silent, was now almost at the center of the fleet. One ship, one crew. And yet the Vorlathi felt as if the universe itself had shifted. For the first time, they understood. Underestimating humans had been their greatest mistake. The Vorlathi fleet trembled in the black void of space. Their ships were larger, stronger, and armed with weapons far beyond human standards, or so they thought. But the presence of the Horizon Spear made their circuits shiver with something new: doubt. Commander Reichel could feel it in the control room, a strange tension spreading among his officers. Every reading from the sensors seemed to contradict the last. The human ship was small, yet its energy output rivaled that of an entire squadron. Reichel's claws drummed nervously on the console. They should not be able to do this. One vessel cannot overpower us in such a way, and yet they do not attack, they do not fear. They only move forward. One officer, trembling, spoke up. Commander, they are not firing, but their energy signature, it is bending space near us. Our smaller ships cannot hold formation. Weapons are misaligned. Engines are stressed. Reichel's glowing eyes widened. What do you mean misaligned? They are pulling at the space around us. Gravitational distortions, ships are spinning, weapon arrays are tearing from mounts. No attack has been launched, yet our systems are failing. Reichel felt a cold chill run through his body. Impossible. Humans should not have this power, not one ship, not one crew. Across the sector on the Horizon Spear, the bridge was calm. Daniel Brooks watched the enemy ships with steady eyes. His crew moved efficiently, checking systems and monitoring the Vorlathi fleet's reactions. Nothing on their ship moved hastily. They were prepared, confident, and precise. Lieutenant Ava Morgan monitored the distortions affecting the enemy fleet. Captain, their ships are losing formation. I can see multiple cruisers struggling to hold alignment. They are spinning. Weapon systems are failing. Daniel nodded. Good, keep observing. We do not want unnecessary destruction. Let them feel the effect. Let them understand the strength we carry simply by being here. Commander Ethan Cole adjusted their course slightly. We are moving toward the center of their formation. They are trying to regroup, but they cannot. Every time they correct their position, it is worse. Ryan Clark at Engineering smiled quietly. Reactor is stable. Shield harmonics are holding. Every system ready. They will feel us, but we are safe. The Horizon Spear moved like a shadow through the enemy formation. Its hull cut silently through space, yet every movement sent vibrations through the Vorlathi sensors. The fleet's massive ships trembled. They were designed for war, yet a single human warship moved through them like a blade through water. On the Vorlathi flagship, alarms blared. Officers shouted and scrambled. The patrol fleet's formation had been perfect, but now chaos ruled. A cruiser spun uncontrollably, drifting toward an asteroid. Another ship's weapon turrets had ripped free from their mounts, clanging against the hull as if crying out in panic. Commander Reichel gritted his teeth. Stop the chaos, restore the formation, fire at the human vessel if necessary. No weapons lock, one officer shouted back. The energy fields around them, our weapons cannot target them properly. Every time we try, the system fails. Reichel's eyes narrowed. Then find another way. Launch fighter drones, do something. They cannot do this alone. We are 27 ships. Daniel watched the panic unfold from the bridge of the Horizon Spear. He did not smile. His calmness was deliberate. The human crew did not need to attack to dominate. Their presence alone was a weapon. Ava adjusted the sensors slightly, tracking the movement of the disoriented Vorlathi ships. Captain, she said quietly, they are trying to launch missiles. Their fire control systems are misaligned. Most of the missiles are veering off course. Daniel nodded. Let them try. Each failed attack teaches them caution. That is all we need right now. Do not stop them entirely. Fear is more powerful than destruction at this point. Ethan glanced at the navigation panel. They are attempting to regroup at the edge of the asteroid belt. It is too late. Their formation is broken. They cannot coordinate. Ryan leaned back slightly in his chair. Shields are holding. Everything is stable. Their panic does not affect us. Not at all. Back on the Vorlathi flagship, Commander Reichel paced the bridge. His mind raced. They had faced humans before, but always in controlled numbers. One ship had never done this before. The Horizon Spear moved like it knew exactly what the Vorlathi were thinking. Every correction, every attempt to stabilize their ships failed. Reichel opened a channel to the fleet. All units, do not fire blindly. Focus on stabilization. Maintain communication. We cannot allow this vessel to dominate us with just presence. But the Vorlathi ships could not follow orders properly. Their weapons misfired, engines strained, and communications crackled with interference. Commander Reichel felt the first true taste of fear he had ever known. On the Horizon Spear, Daniel finally spoke. Open a communication channel to the flagship. Let's make this clear. Ava activated the long-range channel. The signal reached the Vorlathi flagship almost immediately. The officers braced for a response. They expected shouts, demands, or threats. Instead, they heard Daniel Brooks' calm, measured voice. "This is Captain Daniel Brooks of the United Earth Navy. You have violated protected territory. Withdraw immediately. Do not test us further." The Vorlathi officers froze. The voice was not angry. It was not nervous. It was calm, controlled, absolute. Commander Reichel's claws tightened on the console as he realized the implication. The Horizon Spear moved closer to the center of the fleet. Its movements were smooth, deliberate. The human crew did not panic, even as the Vorlathi scrambled. Their ship emitted no visible weapon fire, yet every system on the Vorlathi ships felt the effect of its presence. Reichel tried to respond. "This is Commander Reichel of the Vorlathi fleet. Identify yourself." "Cease approach or we will fire." Daniel's voice remained calm. "I am identified. You know who we are. Your systems are responding to our presence. That is your warning. Withdraw. Avoid conflict. This is your only chance." The Vorlathi officers looked at each other. None of them knew what to do. They had never felt fear like this. Their ships were failing under the weight of a human's calm authority. Reichel swallowed. "Impossible. One ship cannot dominate 27 vessels. It cannot control space around it." But the Horizon Spear was doing exactly that. The Vorlathi ships drifted, spun, and failed as the human warship moved forward. Each attempt to correct their position made matters worse. Daniel watched the display. Ava monitored every ship, every engine, every weapon. Ethan adjusted their vector carefully to maximize the effect. Ryan made sure every system on Horizon Spear was operating perfectly. No one on the human ship spoke loudly. No one panicked. They did not need to. Their presence alone had broken the enemy formation. One Vorlathi cruiser tried to fire at the human vessel. The weapons locked for a moment, but then the targeting system went haywire. The missiles spun out of control, moving away from their target. The ship's engines strained under unnatural forces as if space itself refused to let them act. Commander Reichel felt his chest tighten. He realized what he must do. "All ships, retreat, withdraw immediately." The Vorlathi fleet scrambled. Engines flared, weapons shut down, and the massive ships turned away, trying to escape. Chaos ruled the formation. Communication lines were jammed by interference caused by the human warship. Every officer felt the same thing: panic, fear, and confusion. Daniel watched them go. He gave a slight nod to Ava. "They will spread the word quickly. One ship, calm and controlled, is enough to show what humanity can do." Ava smiled faintly. "They will think twice before returning. They will talk about this for decades." Ryan leaned back in engineering. "System stable. We didn't even fire a shot and they are fleeing." Ethan laughed quietly. "Efficient, almost disappointing that it was so easy." Daniel shook his head slightly. "No, it is perfect. We showed them without violence. That is how wars should begin or end." From the Vorlathi perspective, the fleet retreated in panic. Officers on every ship reported malfunctioning systems, spinning vessels, and failed weapons. Their fleet had faced humans before and always won. But this time, one human warship had destroyed their confidence without firing a single missile. Commander Reichel sat on his throne-like chair, staring at the receding Horizon Spear. For the first time, he felt genuine fear. One ship, one human crew. That was all it took to break them. The human vessel moved quietly away from the sector, calm as the stars themselves. Daniel did not celebrate. He did not need to. Humanity's presence alone had made the point. In the Vorlathi communication network, messages of panic spread faster than light. "Human warship detected. Retreat immediately." Every fleet in the area was warned. Fear became doctrine. One human warship could change the entire strategy of the enemy, not by firing, but simply by existing. Daniel Brooks watched the stars outside the viewport. His crew was calm, focused, and confident. Humanity had been underestimated for centuries. Not anymore. They had learned the truth. Control, precision, and calm certainty were stronger than any weapon. And this lesson would echo across the galaxy. The Vorlathi fleet was in disarray. Ships drifted in odd angles, engines straining, weapon turrets spinning uselessly. Commander Reichel could barely keep track of them on the main display. Panic had replaced discipline, and even his most loyal officers looked uncertain. One by one, the cruisers tried to correct their positions, only to fail again. Every attempt to regroup made the chaos worse. Reichel pressed his claws to his console, his glowing eyes sharp with frustration. Why can they do this? One ship and one human ship. His voice shook slightly, though he tried to hide it. It should be impossible, one officer, shaking, spoke up. Commander, the vessel is controlling space itself. Gravity distortions, localized energy fields, the fleet cannot maintain formation. Engines cannot stabilize, weapons are ineffective. Reichel leaned forward, staring at the screen. Then we have no choice, launch fighter drones. Overwhelm them with numbers, their systems cannot handle multiple targets. Across the sector, the Horizon Spear remained calm. Its hull cut through the void with quiet power. On the bridge, Captain Daniel Brooks watched the sensor feed carefully. The human crew had prepared for this exact moment. Ava monitored every Vorlathi ship, noting their movements, their weaknesses, and their responses to the gravitational distortions. "Captain," Ava said quietly, "they are launching drones, small attack craft, dozens at once." Daniel nodded. "Let them come, track every one of them, do not engage with weapons, let them feel the control." Ethan adjusted the ship's trajectory slightly, keeping them centered in the enemy formation. "They're approaching fast, they expect us to react aggressively." Ryan checked engineering systems. "Shields holding, energy fields stable, we can handle all drones, no risk of damage." The Vorlathi drones surged forward, engines flaring, weapons ready to fire. But as they entered the area around Horizon Spear, their systems failed. Missiles spun out of control, energy cannons fired erratically, and small craft collided with each other. Every attempt to attack was met with failure. One small fighter spun uncontrollably, its engine burning out as it collided with the remnants of a destroyed drone. Another exploded in a burst of energy, not from human weapons, but from its own unstable systems. Panic spread through the Vorlathi ranks. Commander Reichel growled. "Stop them! Focus fire! Target the ship!" "No effect, Commander," an officer shouted. "All systems are disrupted. Weapons cannot lock. Engines cannot stabilize. Their gravity fields, we cannot overcome them." Reichel's glowing eyes narrowed. Fear was growing in his chest, cold and heavy. He had faced humans before, but never like this. One ship, a small human vessel, had thrown an entire fleet into chaos. He realized with a chill that this was no ordinary encounter. Daniel Brooks watched calmly. He did not give orders hastily. He did not shout. Every crew member knew their role. Ava adjusted the sensors to track the Vorlathi drones. Ethan monitored navigation, keeping the ship in perfect alignment. Ryan kept the energy fields stable, channeling the reactor's power precisely where it was needed. "Captain," Ava said, "their fleet is almost completely broken. Their ships are spinning, engines failing, weapons malfunctioning. They cannot coordinate at all." Daniel nodded. "Let's make the demonstration complete. Prepare the gravitational pulse." Ryan's eyes lit up. "Pulse ready, we can increase the local distortions and expand the field. It will affect the entire fleet." "Do it," Daniel said. His voice was calm, controlled. "Just enough to make them understand, no destruction beyond what is necessary." The Horizon Spear activated the pulse. A subtle distortion rippled outward from the ship. Space itself seemed to bend slightly around the vessel. The effect on the Vorlathi fleet was immediate and dramatic. Ships wobbled violently, engines strained to maintain thrust, and weapon systems tore themselves from their mounts. Drones collided in mid-space, exploding in harmless bursts of sparks. Commander Reichel's claws slammed onto the console. "Enough! Pull back! Retreat immediately!" But retreat was difficult. The fleet's ships were entangled in the distortions. One cruiser collided with an asteroid, sending debris spinning into nearby ships. Another vessel's energy core went into emergency shutdown to prevent catastrophic failure. Every correction made the situation worse. Daniel watched carefully. "Maintain stability, Ryan. Do not overextend. Let them recover enough to see the effect clearly. We are not here to kill. We are here to demonstrate control." Ava tracked the faltering fleet. "They are trying to regroup at the edge of the asteroid field. It is not working. Every maneuver makes them worse. Even the flagship is affected." Ethan adjusted the ship's vector slightly. "They cannot comprehend what they are facing." "They have never encountered this level of precision before." Ryan nodded. "Systems stable, energy output within safe limits. We can maintain the pulse indefinitely if needed." The Vorlathi flagship sent a signal, desperate and trembling. "Human vessel, identify yourself." Cease these manipulations or we will open fire. Daniel opened the communication channel. His voice was calm, deliberate. I am Captain Daniel Brooks of the United Earth Navy. You are experiencing the effect of your own underestimation. Withdraw immediately. This is your only warning. The Vorlathi officers froze. They had never faced such calm authority. The human voice carried no anger, no threat, only certainty, yet that certainty was stronger than any weapon. Reichel's claws tightened around the console. Impossible, he muttered. One ship, one human vessel. How can they control our entire fleet? The Horizon spear moved slightly, repositioning to maximize the effect. Every Vorlathi ship was now affected by the pulse. Engines flared, weapon systems failed, and communication links crackled with interference. The fleet's proud formation collapsed completely. Daniel's voice was calm. You can leave the sector now. You may save your fleet if you withdraw immediately. Failure to comply will only make matters worse. The Vorlathi officers looked at each other. Panic had replaced logic. No one wanted to risk further exposure. Commander Reichel realized the truth. Retreat was the only option. The Vorlathi fleet scrambled. Engines flared, weapon systems shut down, and ships spun awkwardly as they tried to escape. The Horizon spear moved calmly through the chaos, undamaged and precise. Daniel observed silently. He did not celebrate. He did not need to. Humanity's point had been made. One ship, one crew had demonstrated control over an entire fleet without firing a single weapon. Ava exhaled quietly. Captain, they are retreating. Every ship is moving away. The sector is clear. Ethan allowed himself a small smile. That was almost too easy. Daniel shook his head slightly. No, it was perfect. They learned without destruction. Fear is stronger than weapons, and they now understand that humans are not to be underestimated. Ryan spoke from engineering. Systems stable, shield integrity perfect, reactor output steady. We are safe. The Horizon spear moved slowly away from the sector. Its calm authority remained, a silent signal to all who might follow. The Vorlathi fleet, meanwhile, was a scattered mess. Reports of failure, malfunction, and fear rippled through their communication network. The story of one human ship dominating an entire fleet without firing a shot spread faster than light. Commander Reichel sat in his chair, staring at the receding human vessel. For the first time in his life, he felt true fear. One ship, a single human warship, had shattered his fleet's confidence, broken their formation, and forced them to retreat without a fight. Across the sector, the Horizon spear continued its steady path. Daniel Brooks watched the stars through the viewport. The crew was calm, focused, and efficient. Humanity had once been underestimated, not anymore. They had learned something important. Wars could be won with control, precision, and calm authority without firing a single weapon. The effect of certainty and discipline was stronger than the most powerful weapons in the galaxy. The Vorlathi, meanwhile, would never forget this encounter. Every fleet commander, every officer, every soldier who witnessed the human warship would spread the story. Fear of humanity would grow. One ship had shown what an entire species could do when it acted with focus and confidence. Daniel looked at his crew. This is only the beginning. Let them spread the word. Let them understand that humanity has returned, and we will act with control, intelligence, and precision. Ava smiled faintly. They will never forget us. Ethan nodded. No fleet will dare underestimate us again. Ryan leaned back in his chair. Systems stable. We are ready for anything. The Horizon spear moved silently through the void, leaving behind a trail of panic, confusion, and fear. One ship had changed the perception of an entire enemy species. One human crew had demonstrated that calm certainty was more terrifying than rage. Commander Reichel, sitting on his chair, whispered to himself, If humans are here, we are no longer safe. And in the quiet of the Horizon spear, Daniel Brooks and his crew prepared for the next mission, knowing that the galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humanity had returned, and it was more dangerous than anyone could imagine. The Vorlathi fleet had retreated completely. Their massive ships drifted toward the edges of the Carthos expanse, engines straining, systems damaged, and crews shaken. Commander Reichel's flagship, once the heart of the patrol, moved with difficulty, its hull marked by minor collisions and sensor malfunctions. The officers whispered among themselves, fearful of both their own failures and what might come next. No one dared speak directly to Reichel. The calm authority of the human warship had left them stunned. On the Horizon spear, Captain Daniel Brooks remained steady. He did not celebrate, though the crew had reason to be proud. Humanity had once again shown that control and confidence were more powerful than any weapon. He scanned the sensors one last time, confirming that the Vorlathi fleet had fully withdrawn and that no hidden threats remained. Ava Morgan at the tactical console exhaled slowly. "Captain, they're gone. All vessels have retreated. They will need weeks, maybe months, to repair their ships. Their morale is broken." Daniel nodded. "Good, let the lesson sink in. Let them remember that humans are not to be underestimated." Ethan Cole leaned back in his chair, a small grin on his face. "One ship, one crew. We didn't fire a single weapon, and yet we forced them to retreat. They'll talk about this for generations." Ryan Clark at engineering smiled quietly. "Shields are intact, reactor stable, nothing damaged. We handled it perfectly." Daniel looked around at his crew. They were calm, precise, and confident. Every member knew their role. Every system had performed flawlessly. This was not luck. It was discipline, training, and careful planning. Humanity had returned stronger than ever, and now the galaxy would know it. Meanwhile, in the Vorlathi command networks, chaos had spread. Fleet officers and captains exchanged panicked messages, describing the impossible. A single human warship, calm, precise, and overwhelmingly powerful, had disrupted an entire fleet without firing a shot. Every communication line buzzed with fear. Word of the encounter spread faster than any warning or battle report. Commander Reichel sat alone in his chamber, staring at the black expanse beyond the viewport. He could feel the weight of the failure pressing on him. He had always believed humans were manageable, predictable, limited, yet this one ship had shown him the truth. Humans were unpredictable, disciplined, and fearless when necessary. Their strategy was beyond the Vorlathi understanding. The thought chilled him. One ship, a single human crew, had proven that the Vorlathi fleet could be controlled, even destroyed in effect, without a single missile or energy blast. Panic had replaced strategy. Fear had replaced discipline. And Reichel knew the lessons would spread throughout the entire Vorlathi armada. Back on the Horizon Spear, Daniel Brooks allowed himself a moment of reflection. Humanity had been underestimated for centuries. Other species thought humans were small, weak, and reckless. Yet humans had survived countless wars, disasters, and threats through intelligence, adaptability, and discipline. Today, they had shown that even one ship could dominate a fleet through calm authority and precise control. Ava glanced at the sensors again. "Captain, they are sending reports to other fleets. Word of our arrival will spread quickly. They will rethink every strategy, every plan they had against humans." Daniel nodded. "That is exactly what we want. We do not need to destroy every enemy. We only need to ensure they understand that humans cannot be taken lightly." Ethan leaned forward. "It's remarkable. One crew, one ship, they won't forget it, and neither will anyone else. Even fleets that weren't here will hear about it." Ryan smiled faintly. "And we did it without firing a shot. No destruction beyond minor system failures. That's impressive control." Daniel allowed himself a small smile. "Control is more important than destruction. Humans survive because we think, plan, and act with certainty. That certainty is stronger than the deadliest weapon. The galaxy must learn that." Outside, the stars were calm and silent. The Horizon Spear moved through space with quiet authority, leaving behind a shaken and scattered enemy. The crew watched, each of them aware of the moment they had participated in. This encounter would be remembered, not because of explosions or battles, but because of calm power and perfect control. In the Vorlathi ranks, officers scrambled to stabilize their fleet. Reports of malfunctions, spinning ships, and failed systems were everywhere. Even the flagship had been affected by the gravitational pulse from Horizon Spear. Communication with distant fleets was disrupted. Panic reigned where order had once been absolute. Reichel tried to speak to his officers to rally them. "We will recover, we will regroup, and we will." His voice faltered. He could not finish. The certainty of the humans had broken the confidence of his entire fleet. He had faced humans before, but never like this. One ship, one crew had made the Vorlathi question everything. On Horizon Spear, Daniel Brooks finally gave the order to continue. "Set a course out of the sector. Maintain a quiet profile. Let the Vorlathi assess what they faced. We do not need further engagement." "The point has been made." Ava adjusted the sensors. "Course set, Captain. We are clear of the sector. No active threats detected." Ethan nodded. "Their fleet is retreating far faster than expected. They will need months to recover." This encounter will echo through their command networks for years. Ryan checked the reactor one last time. All systems stable. We handled everything perfectly. No damage, no risk. We've demonstrated everything we needed. Daniel looked out through the viewport at the stars stretching infinitely ahead. Humanity had returned to the galaxy not with reckless violence, but with calm precision and intelligence. The lesson they had delivered would not be forgotten. In the Vorlathi communication networks, the reports continued to spread. Commanders of distant fleets read the same messages. One human warship, calm and controlled, caused mass failures in an entire fleet. They retreated without firing. Fear has replaced strategy. Across the Vorlathi space, officers whispered in fear. Every fleet commander would now act differently. They would retreat before engagement. They would hesitate before attacking. Humanity had set a new standard of power, not through destruction, but through discipline and certainty. Daniel turned to his crew. Remember this moment. Humanity has always survived because of intelligence, precision, and courage. Today, we showed that one ship can change the outcome of a fleet. One crew can demonstrate what it means to be human. Let this guide us in every mission ahead. Ava smiled faintly. They will never underestimate us again. Ethan added, not just them, every species, every fleet. Every commander will remember this day. Ryan leaned back in his chair. Systems stable, shields intact, reactor perfect, and we didn't fire a single weapon. That's remarkable. Daniel nodded. It is remarkable, but more than that, it is necessary. Fear and respect are stronger than destruction. Control without chaos is more terrifying than war itself. The galaxy has learned that today. Outside, the Horizon Spear moved silently through the void, its gray hull gleaming under the distant light of stars. The crew remained calm, efficient, and precise. Every system was working perfectly. Every crew member was ready. Humanity had returned, stronger and wiser, and the galaxy would remember it. Commander Reichel sat on his command chair, staring at the blackness outside. He had faced humans before and thought he knew them. Now he understood. One human warship, calm, disciplined, and confident, could dominate an entire fleet without firing a shot. The lesson was burned into his mind, and he knew it would shape the strategy of every fleet across the Vorlathi Empire. The Horizon Spear continued its journey, leaving behind a shaken enemy and a galaxy that would think twice before underestimating humans again. One ship, one crew had changed the balance of power. One lesson delivered with calm authority had made humanity a force to be feared and respected. Daniel Brooks watched the stars, silent and thoughtful. Humanity had survived countless challenges. Humanity had been underestimated for centuries. Now, with calm precision, discipline, and certainty, humanity had proven itself once again. One ship, one crew, and one clear demonstration of power had changed the way the galaxy would see humans forever. The crew of Horizon Spear worked quietly, confident, and steady. Every system was perfect. Every officer knew their role. They had demonstrated the power of intelligence, control, and calm authority. The Vorlathi would rebuild. They would plan. They would try again. But they would never forget the day one human warship had forced an entire fleet to retreat. Daniel Brooks allowed himself a small, satisfied nod. The galaxy has seen what humanity can do, and this is only the beginning. The Horizon Spear moved forward, silent, calm, and deadly in its presence. Humanity had returned, and the stars would never forget it.